Hi there. In today's video I'm going to show you how I made this cute little gift bag using the Framelits dies for the topper, and this is kind of how it looks opened. I'm going to begin by showing you how to put the bag together, and then I'll show you how to make this little flower embellishment. So I'm going to begin with 2 pieces of crumb cake cardstock that I've cut to 5.5 inches by 8. And on each of these we're going to score to create the folds for this box. So I've got my scoring tool, and I'm going to score at 2 inches on 3 of the sides. 2 inches, and then I'm going to turn this 2 inches and 2 inches. And I'm doing that for both of them. Okay, so now that I have the scoring done, I'm just going to start folding along each of those score lines. This will help me to see better where the lines are, so that I know where to cut to make the flaps to fold the box together. Okay, so I want to show you the templates that I've made for this. This just helps you to see where the score lines are, and these solid lines are where you'll cut on each piece. So on this first piece, we'll use this one, and I'm just going to cut these 2 bottom flaps out. And then on the next one, we're going to cut out these 2 squares along those solid lines. Okay. And then to make these easier to fold, I always use my bone folder to give good sharp creases. That will just make those easier to fold. Okay, so I want to show you these the template again, so that you can see where I put the sticky strip. And basically on this piece here, we've got sticky strip on these 2 flaps, and then down at the bottom. And on this other one, you're going to flip it over to the right side of the bag or the outside of the bag, and just on these 2 flaps you'll put a strip of sticky strip at the bottom flaps. So I have already done that on my pieces, and I'm ready to go ahead and assemble. So I'm going to go ahead and start by removing the backing from these 2 flaps. And then you're just going to fold these in, and then put your box together. So you've got one side of the bag finished. Then you'll go ahead and remove the backing from this other piece. Okay, so you've got all the backing off. Now you're ready to go ahead and attach this bottom flap to the bottom of this one. So I will line this up, and basically I'm going to take this and turn it upside down and just match up these bottom edges. So when I've got that together, then I can go ahead and set it upright. And what you're going to want to do is try to match up these top edges of the bag. That's where you're going to see it being off. So make sure that you match those, and then attach the 2 sides once you have them lined up. Okay, so there's your box. Okay, so now I'll tell you, this will fold easier if you use designer paper rather than the cardstock, but I wanted crumb cake, so that's what I'm using. It's a little bit stiffer, but then you're just going to push in these 2 sides and pinch together the top of the bag. So now you have these subtle creases on the sides that will allow this to pinch closed. Okay, so now we're ready to make the topper, and I'm going to use the 2 largest Framelits dies, and I'm using Twitter Painted Designer Series paper and Cherry Cobbler to layer these. Okay, so I have my big shot, and I'm going to use, the way we use these Framelits is you're going to use tab 2, so you'll go ahead and slide your cutting platform in there, and then you're going to do a cutting pad, put your paper on, and then your Framelits, and you'll want that ridged edge, the cutting edge down. So we'll turn that around, and then we'll layer another cutting pad on top of that, and then we're ready to roll it through. Okay, now we're ready to do the cherry cobbler layer. You can see how this just comes right out. So there's your label. And now you're ready for the next one. So we've got the cherry cobbler cardstock, and I'm going to put this next size on top of that, and the cutting pad. And there's our other label. Okay, so now I'm getting my scoring tool back, and I'm just going to, where these points are on each of these labels, I'm going to go ahead and score along that line, because we're going to fold that in half. That's the perfect halfway mark. And then I'm just going to fold these in half. And then I'm just going to cut about, basically I want this large label to be the same width as the box. So I'm going to cut about 1/4 of an inch off of these little points here on the end. And you can see that's pretty close. That matches up pretty close. So then I'm going to go ahead and put a little snail adhesive on this one front side, and the reason I'm doing this first and not putting it on both sides is because it's much easier to line up, and you want to kind of center that, matching the fold and getting that in the center. Then once you have that together, you can go ahead and put your snail adhesive on this back side and attach that. Okay, so your topper is ready. Now I'm going to show you how to make the flower, and we'll finish putting that on the bag. Okay, so to make the flower, I used this Fun Flowers die, and I'm going to try to show you, this is what it looks like. It's hard to see, but there are 3 flowers on here, and I'm using the smallest flower for the bottom 2 layers on this flower. So I have already die cut those, and I use the Twitter Painted paper, and this actually was a scrap of the Neutrals Crumb Cake Designer Series paper, and so I've got one of those. And then I'm also going to use my scallop circle punch and punch out one in Crumb Cake and one in Cherry Cobbler. So I have those. And then I'm going to use my paper crimper to sort of break down the cardstock a little bit. And I'm going to roll these through twice, kind of turning them in opposite directions. It just helps you to get that crumpled look, a little more crumpled. So I'm going to go ahead and do those and do these. And then I just turn them the opposite direction to really break down those fibers. Okay, so once I have that done, then I'm just going to crumple these up. Okay, once you've got those crumpled, these can be just opened up. And then on these, it makes it a little bit easier to crunch and get the look that you're going for, but then you can peel the layers apart on this cardstock because it's colored all the way through. It's dyed, the dye goes all the way through. You can actually peel those apart, and now you've got 2 scallop circles that I'm going to use for that, and the same with this. I like the weight of these when I peel it apart, and I'm just using half of the cardstock. So there I have all of my layers, and then what you're going to do is take, I've just got a piece of foam here. This actually came from my clear block caddy, one of the inserts, and I'm just going to layer these one on top of the other. Whoops, I was trying to keep that so you could see it while I'm working on it, and it's not wanting to stay. I forgot, I also did another scallop circle just with the scallop circle punch of the Twitter painted, and I did the same thing with this where I just ran it through this crimper to break down and make it easier to crumple. Crumpled that one up, so that one is also ready to go, and I'm going to go ahead and layer that next. And then this, and I actually had a spare crumb cake I don't really want to use. I've got enough layers here. You can make these however you want. You can put as many layers as you want to in them. And then once you have them all layered together, then you're just going to take your paper piercing tool and punch right in the center all the way through. And then you're taking an antique brad and you're going to poke that through all of those layers. And then once you have that through, you can go ahead and open up those tabs on the back. Okay, once you've got it together, then you're just going to go ahead, I just pull each layer apart and kind of crumple them back up again and separate them. And it makes them easier to see. Okay, so once you've got that all scrunched, then you can kind of peel back those layers and open up the flower as much as you want so that it looks pretty. So there's your flower, and that's all there is to that. Okay, now we're ready to go ahead and put this on the topper. So I've got my topper, and I'm going to go ahead and take some snail adhesive and run that across the center. So I'm using 1/2 inch seam binding. This is the Very Vanilla seam binding, and you're going to want to fold to get these notches in the ends. You're going to just fold this in half, and from the outside edge of the folded ribbon, you're going to use some good sharp scissors. You can use our craft scissors or sewing scissors, and you'll go from the outside edge up to the center at a diagonal, and that'll give you that perfect little notched edge. So I'm going to do that on both sides. Okay, so I've got those, and then I'm just going to go ahead and place this so that it's even. I'm just going to press the center down so that only that's attached. I'm kind of leaving these loose because then I'm going to take my flower and use some glue dots. I just put a couple of glue dots on the back side of this flower. And then I'll go ahead and attach that to the front. Okay, so once you have your flower in place, then you can re-scrunch that when you're done. But then you can just kind of bunch up these ends. To give it a little bit of a puckered look. You can adjust that how you want to. So now your topper is ready to go ahead and attach to the box. Now the front of the box is going to be the side that doesn't have these little seams. So go ahead and apply sticky strip to the back of your topper. So I've got a little piece that I'll put here on the bottom and then one up here at the top. Okay, then you can peel off your backing. and then you can just attach that to the back side of the bag. So I'm just centering it and matching up that fold line. And once you've got it in place, you can go ahead and press it together. Okay, well, then I just used Velcro, a couple of Velcro dots, and they're self-adhesive. So I'm going to go ahead and put those together so that they're ready to attach. And I'm just sticking this on the bottom of the inside of the label. Then you can pinch this together and go ahead and close it where you want it. Okay, so there is your finished gift bag. Thanks for watching and have a great day.